2 teammates, 1 course, and the challenge ahead. Qualifying for the United States Golf Challenge has begun at selected golf courses nationwide. The United States Golf Challenge is 2-man best ball at its finest. Can your team be the best in the nation, perhaps in the world? Dust off your sticks, hit the range, and sign up now at usgolfchallenge.com.
Have you heard of the fantastic new golf shoes which actually will help your game? Squares will help you improve your balance, stability, and give you more distance.
You want to work on your golf swing authentically? Do it from ground upwards. Change your shoes, change your game.
I did, and I gained 7 yards. These shoes are designed with the latest performance technology, and in testing, they're proven to help add distance. Just go to getsquares.com to find out more. Squares, the distance golf shoe.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to On Par with Amanda. Another beautiful week. Hopefully your weather is warming up on your side of the country, while it has been pretty beautiful over on the west side. So we're going to dive right in. This week, I want to talk about injuries. Whether you're an amateur, a professional, or just a very semi-rec golfer, we've all struggled with injuries in our life, whether it's from golf or from something else. When we come to the golf course, we deal with these injuries a lot. I happen to actually love helping older clients that have maybe a hip surgery or a knee injury or an ankle issue. And I love helping them understand that you can still swing a golf club and you can still maneuver, and whether you change your setup or your swing just a little enough to compensate for your injury, you actually can get out and enjoy golf. A lot of people think, oh, golf's over, it's done. But I definitely love helping those people figure out how to get around what they're doing. And you don't have to sacrifice a whole lot. A lot of times it's just something as moving your foot a little outward, tilting your spine angle a little differently, maybe gripping the club a little differently. Now, as we are getting back into golf, week after week, COVID is letting up. We're seeing these PGA Tour players, grind every week. We know that injuries happen. Now, what we don't see a lot of is them talking about them. Occasionally, you'll see a tour player say, oh, yeah, I'm fighting this or I'm battling this. But I think that for some reason, golf is different than other injuries. In basketball, you jam a finger, you break your finger, you hurt your arm. You're like, hey, he's sitting on the bench because he's dealing with this. But with golf, because it's such an individual thing, I think a lot of players just feel like they shouldn't talk about their injuries and they shouldn't bring them up, and they don't want to lose fans and they don't want to be out. They don't want to sit out. So we're going to touch first on Koepka. So Brooks Koepka, we love him. He's great. He's great for the game of golf. So Michael Breed had his Sirius XM radio show, and he touched on Koepka's injury. So Brad Faxon jumped in and gave his 2 cents on the injury, and he's predicting that Koepka will be out for 6 to 8 months on this. So it says here that it's way more serious than Koepka's letting on. I've heard that patella injury, it's a post-collateral ligament. So a PCL. So it's similar to, ACLs, those type of things, which if you've ever had an ACL tear or partial or full, they're not fun. And a lot of times surgery is required. Now, I'm not as familiar with a PCL, but He said, I've dealt with multiple ACL injuries myself. This is facts and speaking. He said, and I've heard rumors that he's going to be out. So I don't think the Masters has a chance. We need him on tour. He's a hell of a player, but I think he's going to battle this one for a while. So a couple other things. So it has to do with the knee. We all know that in golf, when you take a swing, you load and you shift weight forward. So there's a lot of pressure going on with your knees, as we've seen from Tiger over the years. All that torque, all that momentum, it really, really, really is not ideal to have an injury in this area. But think about it. If you've ever watched Brooks Koepka or Dustin Johnson or Rory or Tiger, how much torque and turn and I guess pressure are they putting on these joints and these ligaments? A ton. So as we're going along, next time you watch professional golf on TV, I want you to watch from the ankle to the knee or just above the knee. I want you to see how much rotation and how much momentum is shifting and posting up on the left side. It is a ton. And a lot of times we just watch the swing. It happens so fast. And as a fan, we're like, wow, they swung out of their shoes. But watch how, I guess, particular you have to be with your movement to not create an injury. A doctor one time told me, he was a chiropractor, and I went in for an adjustment and I was having some lower back issues. And he said, your body is not meant and not built to make the same motion over and over and over and over, only in one direction. So he was like, ideally, I wish I could tell every golfer in the world to turn and swing as many times as they do right-handed, or if you're left-handed, the opposite way. My back is so overdeveloped in one direction or on one side, and the other side of my spine is underdeveloped. So I've had to work really hard in the gym, as well as many other golfers, to kind of even that balance out. So Koepka, we don't really know. I think I see, as a personal opinion, Koepka not wanting to make it as serious because he wants to be out there. He wants to play. He wouldn't be doing it if he didn't love it. So we wish him all the best. Obviously, I will keep you guys informed. If you hear anything, I want to know about it. I've been following these injury stories for a little while now, and I want to make sure that everybody, gets the latest and the details. And if I have any scoop on the back end, I will definitely let you know. Moving on to other injuries that you might not know about. So this one took me by surprise because I found out late in the game about this one. So as we've seen, Rory's career has been nothing short of amazing. But he definitely has had a lull for a while, or you'll see him play kind of well, and then he'll kind of fall off. And I've looked into, his swing coach, like things that he's trying and doing. Maybe he's changing stuff up, which he has. He's kind of been diving into some different stuff, but there is a reason. So he has a hand injury that not a lot of people know about. And it was severe enough to where surgery was definitely on the table. Surgery was something that at least was going to fix it and he could move forward. But Rory did not want to do that. So he kind of battled on with this injury. And so this is what Rory has to say. He says, as the year went on, my grip got weaker and weaker. The club face got more open, and then I needed to flip my hands at impact. And so it just required more timing. So the problem, we see players that have this timing type of swing. So if you have a lot of lag in your swing, or you need to flip your hands at impact and time it just perfectly, on days that your timing is on, it is golden. You go out, you play great, you have no problem. But the thing with timing and using timing in your golf swing to make a move like a flip of the hands, if your rhythm, your body is just slightly off that day, you are all over the place. So on tour, there were certain players that their swing wasn't a one plane mechanical or even a two plane, just super easy consistent swing. It was built on timing. Well, a lot of times these players that have a timing golf swing that if you, I know that I got to flip my hands at this certain time, you can get a lot more momentum out of the golf swing, but you're less consistent over time. So you're going to have more rounds that you're like, well, it just wasn't clicking today. So Rory also said, from somebody who already has kind of a weaker grip to start with, you don't really have much wiggle room on that side of things, which is true. So he has a weaker grip already. And then as his grip got weaker and weaker, compensating his hand injury, oh boy, you start to really rotate the club and do a lot of, get into some habits that probably just aren't the greatest over time. So he says, and so it's something that I have got to continue to try and work on and make sure that it's not an issue. He said it was 100%, it was 100% responsible for me not being able to strengthen my grip, which in turn is probably normally the first thing guys go to. If something gets a little bit off, all right, where is my setup and are things different? So the slump that he's had over the last couple of years, he hasn't made the tour championship since 2017. There's a lot of things going on here that I think, from a fan perspective, a viewing spectator perspective, we don't realize these things. So we see a lot of times that, why isn't he playing well? He's not focused. He's not doing, but simple things like injuries really do play a part, not just physically, but also mentally. So if you're having this hand situation or like Koepka with his knee, you go out and you say, okay, it feels fine. I'm okay. But you don't know subconsciously what you're thinking about trying to compensate. There is a ton of compensation that our brain will do. This is why when I teach, I try to tell students alignment is so important because your body will compensate for you not being in line with your target. And there is where we pick up bad habits. So alignment is always the first thing to start with, but it's the same with injuries. You have to fix the injury before you can move into feeling confident and consistent every single golf swing. As far as other injuries on tour, there are a ton of players that have minor to a little bit more severe injuries. And I just think it's interesting that they don't get talked about a whole lot. Why are players getting injured and why are they usually, and I'm talking golf specific injuries. I'm not talking that you had your dirt bike over the weekend and got into, a dirt biking accident. And then come back to the golf course. I'm talking about over time, our bodies wear and tear and, putting all this torque and motion on things such as a ligament or a tendon that is literally this big. So where in the world is Tiger Woods? He is another one on the injured list for other reasons. As we all know, unfortunately, our prayers and thoughts. He was moved home and out of the hospital, which is a great sign. But I know it's going to be a long journey for him. In the meantime, he is kind of laying low and we haven't heard much from him. So if you know any details or anything, please let me know. Write into A Robertson Golf on Instagram. I love hearing from you guys and tell me what you want to hear about. There's always a lot of juicy golf gossip going on and I would love to spill it for you. So make sure you tune in every week and thanks for joining us here on Big's Golf Talk. Until next week, keep swinging for par.